Welcome to Bridging the Gap to Connections, the talk show, where we begin by sharing your stories and spotlighting your shine. This computer. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bridging the Gap to Connections. I'm Darla Williams, your host, and today's feature is Sam Mitchell. Let me tell you a little bit about Sam. Sam has, his name is Sam, and he runs a successful podcast called Autism Rocks and Rolls. He has autism himself, and his podcast has exploded and become very successful. He would like to be on this podcast to spread the mission of his podcast and nonprofit. He has 21K downloads and has some big names on his show, like Armani Williams, first NASCAR driver, open about having autism, and American Idol rocker James Durbin, who has autism and Tourette's. His biggest guest of all was Dr. Temple Grandin, professor in animal science at Colorado State University and autism activist. He's also featured WWE legend Mick Foley on his show. Huge guests are upcoming as well, so you want to get connected. He is also a motivational speaker, entrepreneur, sells merchandise, has several sponsors, sell ad space, and a writer. He has a blog and loves to promote his podcast and business. He has a published TED Talk called Sold Structure as well. He's a high-functioning human being on the autism spectrum that has a mission to show people that he's not broken, does not need to be fixed. There is no normal in this world, and he is successful with autism. He wants to celebrate the successes of all people. He embraces who he is and feels as though everyone should do the same. His mission, powerful, and this extraordinary idea is catching on and getting the world's attention. He has made it to the top 10 in the People's Choice Podcast Awards, placed second in the state of Indiana for the JAG Entrepreneurship Project, was selected as the best business at CEO Trade Show in Indiana, has had tremendous guests on the show, and is in the top 200 podcasts in all of Canada, while also being a current Davy Award winner. So here is, without any further ado, let me go ahead and bring on Sam Mitchell. As you can tell, this is a guy who has done it all and continues to do more every day. Welcome on, Sam.
Hey, buddy. Good to be here. And I'm doing all of this at 22 years old, which does surprise me sometimes.
It's so exciting to hear what you are actually accomplishing. So I want to ask, for those who are listening in, what is it that fuels you, that makes you want to get up every day and keep going?
I think it's just proper motivation from both sides of the family. We're both hard workers and dedicated to what we like to do, and no one's going to tell us any different.
Beautiful. So how did you begin? What age were you when you began your podcast?
I was a junior in high school, but the love of podcasting and broadcasting really started when I joined my high school's media club, and I fell in love with it so much. I didn't want to continue my own career. I kind of didn't drop out, but I just wanted to expand my skills. I didn't want to wait till college. Despite me going to college, I wanted to not wait till that time span and start early. That was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about it. How did it get started? What did you do? I mean, where were you that made that come to life?
Well, I just, throughout the years, I saw how society treated me due to me having autism. I was bullied, excluded, and dealt with all the stereotypes that you can imagine. So I figured, well, because of this stigmatization I've been dealing with, let's talk about it. Let's tell these stories I've been wanting to tell for the longest time. Because with my life in particular, and the stories I share, you had to be there to understand it. Or if I did try to explain it in person, you might think I'm a bit cuckoo.
Well, I think a lot of people who have the ADHD, ADHD, and other autism spectrums all feel like they're just sort of out of pocket, that they don't feel like they always fit in. How often did you feel like you suffered that in your experience?
It was brutal. I felt it every day. I mean, I had one friend in school. I wish to this day I could have appreciated it more. And I did appreciate it. I just wish I could have more. But I should have realized back then, even if it's one person that's interested, someone is interested in you.
Exactly. That is absolute truth. So, did you find doing the broadcasting of your show, did you find that you found more people like you?
Yes, I did actually. I met similar people with similar journeys. I met same people even who are like me, which I think reminded me of I'm not the only one in the boat, because once you get to a certain point, I think we become selfish and forget there's other people around us who have also been excluded, who have been bullied, who have dealt with stereotypes that could be similar to mine, but they're also very different compared to mine.
Well, with the spectrum, it is going to be different. Everyone's autism can be different.
Well, I wasn't referring to the spectrum, although you make a good point on that. I was referring to other mental health disorders too.
Okay. Well, I mean, anything in regards to any type of different, I don't like to call them disabilities. I like to call them different abilities. I think we're all just a little different in every way that we process. And I think there needs to be less of a stigma on it, no matter whether or not it's a mental health issue with, say, bipolar disorder, manic depressiveness, being full of anxiety, or being on the spectrum. I think it should all be created and set down where we can find solutions for all of it, no matter what anyone is suffering with.
Right, right.
So, my next question for you, then, Sam, is what kind of tools do you use in a social setting?
In a social setting, what I use is my emotional intelligence. If something is I don't see fit with this conversation, who says I have to stay there?
Exactly. So, when you're using your the emotional intelligence, can you tell other people what that looks like for you?
It looks like for me, sometimes saying I'm not comfortable, it looks like for me, maybe being blunt, maybe it involves me not understanding a certain communications skill. It includes me over analyzing a body language or an eye roll.
That is definitely something I think more people need to be aware of, is that sometimes the people's expression of the way that they're handling a situation may not have anything to do with someone else other than the way we personally interpret how it feels. And would you say that those like yourself and others like us that would be out here suffering, that sometimes maybe we're just a little more empathic and feeling the situations a little bit more than others?
We're a little more empathic, yes, but I also think we're more truthful. And as we know, the truth can sometimes make someone very uncomfortable.
That is true. I don't know how many times myself personally I've been direct and blunt and made somebody completely mad at me or explosive just because I told them exactly what I saw. And it wasn't, anything more than the absolute truth. I can relate to that. So, how do people find you if they're looking to connect with you?
I'm not a hard guy to find. You can find me anywhere on Google. If you search me in your search engine optimization, something will pop up. I've done the research myself, so trust me when I tell you it does. I would have no reason to lie on that.
Exactly.
If I did, I'd screw myself.
So, what is your favorite part about doing your podcast, the Autism Rocks and Rolls? What is your favorite part of that?
The collaborative work I get to do, the creativity, I get to have ideas and share content that maybe doesn't exist anywhere else.
Nice. So, how often do you get to go and be? It says in here that you have been a speaker. How often have you been able to get around to go speak?
As much as I can, it's definitely hard to because Autism Rocks and Rolls doesn't pay the bills. I hope to it will one day, but motivational speaking, it's a tough business because of just how many times you get neglected and your proposal doesn't get accepted. But I still try to. I have a couple coming up in November that are going to be about special education.
That is awesome. So, what I love is the fact that you mentioned, how difficult it can be sometimes to be selected when it comes to the situations. I think that there needs to be more openness to allowing those out into the world and being able to truly share what it's like to be a neurodivergent. We are totally a different mindset from the neurotypicals. And if we were given the opportunity to be more expressive in the world, I think that the world might just shift a little because we have a lot of answers to things that sometimes we go unheard. What do you think about that?
I think that, yeah. I think we go unheard though because people don't want to handle us. I mean, we're aware of it, but there are some people out there who are still shaky being around us.
So, would you say more education is necessary?
Oh my gosh. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Education is the key on the autism world because if not, they get screwed, you get screwed. It's a lose-lose for everybody.
I think the message gets lost. What do you think? Do you think the message gets lost in translation between the two minds?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
If you could have one neurotypical mind actually hear you for a day, what message would you wish that they could understand?
That this bluntness I have let's try it again. That this bluntness I have is a positive trait. I'm actually making my next episode with the Gina Mitchell show, and the segment is called Mama's Promo. During that segment, I literally rattle off about why bluntness is such a positive trait. Or it won't be me, my mother will be, because it's called Mama's Promo, so my mother's got to be naturally in it. I'm just the one who made the script.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Tell me more about the Gina Mitchell show, what you are creating with that right now.
So I know we talked about it briefly when we last spoke, but it's brand new children's online television show. You can find on Vimeo, not video, just video. Replace the D with an M, you get Vimeo. But the way I describe it is, or what I'm trying to make it is specifically, is Bill Nye the Science Guy. But instead with science, it's with autism. But there's only one episode out, and it's still fresh, and it's a start, but hopefully we'll make more.
So, what is your goal in regards to that show? How many?
I mean, well, I think we talked about it earlier. The problem is that there's not enough education. Okay, let's put some education in there.
Yes, more education, I think, is going to be helpful all the way around. I mean, with the people in the world, if they could just pause for just a moment and try to see life from a different perspective, I think the world could become a lot kinder if people could just learn to pause and listen instead of react.
Right. Sometimes reacting doesn't get you anywhere. And I'm still working on that to this day. But it's a hard thing to do. But I just have to learn reacting doesn't get you anywhere. Because right now I can be angry at the people who treat me like garbage. But let me ask you, where's that going to get me probably?
Exactly. Well, someone who's had to really battle with bullying, what would you love to tell the kids out there or the other individuals or the adults that are still suffering from the aftermath of being bullied their whole life? What would you like to share with them?
Well, it's a hard thing to remember, but you have to keep in your mind you're not the loser. They're the loser. I mean, the ones who are usually getting picked on have low self esteem. And at the end of the day, they're not going to make it. I'm not going to say who, but I'm going to predict one of my bullies that I dealt with today is either trying to avoid jail or is trying to avoid getting probation. Where am I at? Not near the jail area, not earning probation. I'm making money and I'm searching for a job.
So here you are, you can see now later the aftermath that you took the right road and that others sometimes take the road less fortunate.
Right. It may not affect them now, but trust me, it'll bite them in the butt later.
Exactly. So, my next question for you is what was it like to be able to interview some of these amazing people from all over the world for you? What was that like?
It was pretty fun. It was a good time. I had to admit, some of these guests you can take valuable information from. Like Temple Grant, Foley can take a lot of information. But the summer was a lot of fun, and I got to learn more about who they were behind what I saw on television.
Did they get to talk to you a lot about their own challenges?
Oh yeah, when I have a guest, I'm trying to shine the light on them, not me.
Perfect. I love what you're doing, by the way. I just want you to know that. I think that being someone with a stigma, with a condition, or whatever we want to call it, being out here in the world and bringing awareness around the world the way that you are is absolutely incredible. And I'm so proud to meet someone who's actually stepped over those boundaries and said, hey, enough's enough. When was that moment for you as a kid that enough was enough and you needed to stand up and speak out?
Well, it's not really much as a certain time as it is a whole time frame. It was mainly the summer of not my freshman year. I was just a freshman. I was getting ready to be a sophomore. But during that time span, that summer, I just thought what I'm doing right now, it's not working. So I'm going to try something that might make some people mad. But if I don't do this, I'm not going to make it in life. I'm going to quit people pleasing. If I have to make people mad, I will. I don't care who it is. I don't even care if it's my principal of the high school. I'm doing it. To this day, best decision of my life. I made friends. I got a podcast. I gained more self-confidence. And life is going so much better today compared to what it could have been and what it was.
This is incredible to actually meet someone who literally defied the odds, stepped out of the shadow, and took the bull by the horns, to say the least, and stepped out into the limelight to share your story. That is an incredible thing that you have done, Sam. And I'm
I appreciate it, but I had no choice. Because if I didn't grab the bull by the horns, that bull would have ran over me and I would have gotten horned myself.
right?
And I think some days I still feel like it. I mean, I still get horned, but it's not a bull running to your butt going ouch, ouch, ouch every day of your life.
Right?
Maybe once in a while it's an ouch, but it's not like, oh, that left a shiner. It may have left a small print.
So you definitely understood that phrase. You know how sometimes it can bite us in the butt while other times that we're making it through. And I am so excited. I have a question. Say that in the situations that you've been through, what tool have you found most effective for regulating your nervous system when things get overstimulated?
I get the heck away from people. I'll be 100% honest with you. Despite me being on interviews and loads of podcasts, I am not a people person. I know it comes from a stalker, but I'm not. I'm really not. I'd rather be alone in a cave some days. Let's go into get a little real more. Yesterday was a great example. Fortunately, recently I lost my grandfather. Actually, I think,
Sorry.
thank you. What's it, Wednesday? Yesterday. And because of the state and shocking, because it was an unexpected death, it wasn't like my other grandfather who had lung cancer and he was slowly deteriorating. We knew he was going. This was just an unexpected heart attack, unfortunately. Well, because of the shock and the state of my mind, I want to be away from people because that's the way I grieve. And also, the way I grieve is I have to move on. I have to keep my mind productive because if I don't, it's going to be like a spazzing widow in the hospital. And I get it, they do spaz, but for the right reasons. But mine would have been overboard. It would have been curl up in a fetal ball position and I can't move.
Well, I'm glad you're talking about it. You know, it's important to talk about those things that actually overwhelm us. Because when we have the freedom to talk about it, it helps us to process it a little bit easier. And I want you to make sure that you talk to those who can listen, who do take time to make sure that you feel seen, heard, and understood.
Well, I appreciate you thanking me for saying that. I was just being truthful on that.
But we need to realize in life, sometimes what we are being affected by is going to fall out in the places that we don't want it to because we're overwhelmed by those things. And I just want you to know that there isn't anything wrong with speaking what's running through your mind. Being so authentic, I think, Sam, I think part of the reasons your podcast is so attended by others is because you are real. You show up as yourself, and so many people wish they could do the same thing.
Right. And I've said on my podcast things before that you might not agree with. I had a friend who was a special education person. He's not a teacher. He was just in the special education classroom. He showed his teacher my podcast. He didn't say he hated the podcast. He actually really liked it. But there were some stuff this person did not agree with me on. Okay, we can have our own opinions.
Exactly.
Hate each other.
So my next question is, like you were saying, the best way to reach you, would it be through your podcast or like a website?
The website, autismrocksandrolls.com. There's a schedule button if you schedule way on the bottom on the homepage. Right there, schedule on the calendar. You can schedule and you're good to go. But to check out my podcast, that's also on autismrocksandrolls.com. That has the podcast, the events I have coming up, the speaking engagements I have come up. Not a lot is on there right now just because of what has happened recently and we need to catch up. But it'll definitely be caught up one day. I promise you that.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. If you could leave the audience with one piece of information that you wish you could get out to the world every day, what would that piece of information be today?
Excuse me. I still have bronchial tube issues. I have sinus infection. And boy, oh boy, I'm trying not to cough. But what was your question again?
In regards to being the end of the show, what if you could give the audience just a piece of advice, something you want to share? what would you like the world to know?
Well, it's part of my mission. People on spectrum are not broken, do not need to be fixed. They don't need pity. There's nothing to be sorry about. Life can go great if you're on the spectrum. They might have the best fulfillment out of everybody in the room. Now, they may not have an understanding of the world compared to others, but they have fulfillment. And that's something the parent has to do. When the parent does it, things can go a lot smoother.
That is absolute truth.
Sure, they might have a mindset of a 3-year-old, but you could still give them fulfillment and happiness. That's all that person on the spectrum wants. Or most do, at least.
I would agree. I agree with you 100% that they just need to be accepted as they are and find a way to bring joy and fulfillment to the moment.
Right. We all have to live in the moment right now because things like an unexpected heart attack could happen.
It can. Well, we are at the end of the show, and thank you all for joining us on Bridging the Gap to Connections. This was Sam Mitchell, and I am so blessed to have an opportunity to meet Sam, and I hope that you are as well. Until next time, bye for now.